Well, hello, hello, hello. I'm going to adjust this just a little bit. Welcome, welcome. My name is Patty, and I'm going to apologize for my voice. It's going to go in and out a little bit. I sleep with my window open. It's probably not a really good idea because of the cool winter or cool nights, summer nights. And so I apologize if my voice goes in and out. I'll try to take sips every now and then, and hopefully you can get through this. Anyway, welcome. I'm Patty, and I am doing these videos. I've got this is number 3 of 4, maybe 5, 6, or 7, 8, who knows, just depending on what people are wanting. But I'm an empath, and I live as an empath, an extremely intuitive empath with other abilities. And I get off, and I'm also a life coach, a spiritual coach. I also do intuitive tarot. I do get a lot of questions about life as an empath. And for the longest time, I didn't even know I was an empath because for my day and age, we didn't ever have that kind of stuff. So I've created these videos for people that the questions they have been asking, I'm going to try to help explain them. And then also to help give you tools and tips to, if you have abilities, maybe how to make better choices, better decisions. This video is about energies, how to not absorb other people's energies. How do you know that you're even reading somebody else's energies? Also what an energy vampire is, how to protect yourself, and then some other things there about intuitiveness, because that's where a lot of what I do lies. But so I'm going to do just a little recap of the part 2. And what I've done down here below is you can hit part 1 or part 2. There's links there for you to go back. And also you could also subscribe and hit the bell, and you will know when I'm on live, because these are all live. Because you can ask questions. You can jump in and tell me if you're an empath or if it relates to you or anything like that. So I do all my videos and my readings live. I like to do that. I like to, I'm very good at improv anyway, but I like to get the energies of what is going on in that day, and also in my readings, if I'm doing a sign to maybe get somebody out there, their energies that they're needing some answers to. So with part 2, what I was talking about at the very end is how to make decisions or choices based on being an empath, how to do that and know that you're on the right track. So we talked about the fan. We also talked about like a kaleidoscope where it goes dark or it opens up. And those are ways that you can actually gauge yourself if you're on the right track of making your decisions based on your spirit and spirit of truth and love and light. That's what an empath works from. An empath usually works from truth, love, and light. Righteousness is actually, truth, love, and light is not human. Let me get this. I'm going to say this twice. The truth, the love, and light is not from the human's perspective, but from the divine or a creator or a universe. I'm getting goosebumps because that's where the divine wants every decision you make for your life to come from. So as an empath, given these abilities, I'm know what my abilities are. Other empaths may have one ability, they may have all 8. And in section 2 or in part 2, we talked about the different kind. Did we talk about it? In section 2, we talked about the different types of empaths and what each one means. So you could have, for me, I have all 8. So and some are very strong and some are very weak. So that's what we're going to discuss, how those energies work within that today. So especially energies that we're sensitive to. So, and also I went through the description of empath versus what the regular dictionary says, and then what an actual Oxford versus, Webster Dictionary and Oxford, they're very different. So empath is pretty much a new word since the 56, 57, I think, around there. So with that recap, please go back to 1 and 2. Watch those. If you have any questions, you have any feedback, any comments, please, please, please hop in or comment. And I definitely will bring those up in the next video, or I will definitely email you back or comment back. I'm always about interacting with my viewers. So again, we talked about the fan. If the fan is open, this is the choice you make. Fan is closed, you shouldn't. And there's tools, and I showed you how to do that in 2. Really, really important for this part 3, because as you work with energies, other people's energies coming at you, coming in. If you want to call an energy an aura, that's fine. These are energies. These are like if you were to have a protective coating around you, that's what this is. That's what an energy is. Depends on how far that goes out and how far that can come in. That, as an empath, is really, really, really important. When I was brand new at feeling energies, I couldn't help but bring everything in, because I didn't know what it was even happening, right? Remember the story I told you about Costco, about catching all these shoplifters and walking by and feeling their energies? That was the beginning of actually feeling energies. I had already the gift of knowing things, but now I added that. So very, very early empaths have no clue what is even happening to them, let alone like, how do I bounce off these energies? How do I absorb these energies? Some you might want to absorb in, especially healing energies you want to absorb in, like people who do Reiki. You want to absorb those energies. You want to pull in healing energies, those kind of things. Or people who are in crystals. I use some, not all. Learning a little bit about them. But the thing is that I can't be in a crystal room because I will get higher than a kite. As I've said, you put me in there for 10 minutes, I got to walk out because I'm just so high I get nauseated. So people say there's no scientific that anything can cause from a crystal, but yes, those energies are real. So, but to get back, we need to learn how to protect our little bubble around us, because if we absorb the wrong energies, like energy vampires, then it can put us down for days. It could put our energy low, which means then our energies are low, our vibrations are low, and then I can't do readings with really, really low vibrations, because my readings, my tarot readings, or any kind of reading I do, if I'm doing an intuitive session with a one-on-one, I can't go in there with low energies, because then I can't focus on the divine and what the divine is trying to offer to another person. So it's really, really important to learn how to protect yourself. So the things I'm going to go through today are like energy sensitivities, how to protect your energies, the energy vampire, toxic and negative people, how they can affect you. How about noises? How about noises? Is that a big deal? Let me tell you about those. And then also too, you have to, in the next section, in part 4, we're going to learn how to control things around us, how to control ourselves, because let's start off with noises. Okay, so let's go as an empath. As you grow in your levels of being an empath, noises will affect you. Crowded areas, just even somebody talking too loud, maybe a baby crying, those kind of things, they can really begin to raise you up. Now, you could probably have that even as a normal person, like, would you just shut up? Okay, that's normal. But as an empath, you're even heightened even higher, because remember, empaths are all about sensitivities, right? It's sort of like a rabbit. I have a bunny, and so we have to be mindful with noises around them, because they have very big ears and they're extremely sensitive to sound. So if you talk too loud, it aggravates them and they'll start thumping, right? Well, we can't thump. We're not a rabbit, but we surely can sit there and figure a way to calm ourselves down, to ground ourselves and bring us back down, because loud noises to an empath will actually give us irritation, give us anxiety, get us moody, get us angry, get us, just, kind of mood. So we have to learn how to sort of desensitize to that. Sometimes you can, and sometimes you can't. This room here is my sanctuary space where I can go when there's too much noise in the house. And it's to be able to deep breathe and also to calm and bring those energies back to a positive, because you're lowering those energies. If there's too much noise, you're getting agitated, you're lowering your energies, you're lowering your vibrations. So you need to quickly figure out how you're going to do that. And that's what you learn as an empath through your levels. Unfortunately, I didn't know all this. I didn't have somebody to teach me. I didn't even have anybody to go to. That's why I'm doing these videos. Because if you're in a place you don't have anybody you can talk to, and you think that they think you might be nuts, you're not. But this is a safe place for you to go and ask questions and everything like that. So how do you sort of get rid of the noises? Now, I already mentioned one. You go find a place that is quiet. So you can just take some deep breaths, maybe even close your eyes, or how about go outside, take a walk. Now, if you're in a relationship and you're in an argument, that has to be diffused, because nobody's listening anyway when you start arguing, right? So I'm not talking about that kind of thing. If you're in an argument, because I do teach life balance coaching, and there are communication things you can do to actually diffuse arguments and never have an argument, to be honest, because you figure out ways to do that. But when it's noise, it's noise. Say you're in an airport, okay, and you can't escape the noise, or you're in a mall, you can't escape the noise, okay? What do? Well, I know for some people, they carry headphones around with them, and they carry soothing music with them, and they put it in so they can just defrag. I call it defragging. They have to defrag. I know if you're in a mall or an airport, you really can't leave. So you have to find out for yourself as an empath, or even just being high sensitive to certain things, to create that anxiety level down, what it's going to take for you. And a lot of the times in this day and age, those headphones, the noise canceling headphones, is awesome. Or you can put in the buds. There's noise canceling buds. I know this for a fact. My daughter has them because she has anxiety issues. So those are really, really great for if you're out in the public. Now, if you're by yourself and we got noisy neighbors. I mean, cussing, little 6-year-old cussing neighbors. I can't get away from that. Even if I shut my windows, shut their windows, shut their doors, shut my doors, they are still noisy. How do I get away from that? I can actually just go into a back bedroom and just my back office here and shut down and be able to be in quiet. It's really important as an empath to get that vibration and energy down almost immediately. Or if you're in a house and they're like, hey, can you turn the TV down just a little bit? Sometimes we have it too loud and we don't even know. Can you just sort of lower the level just a little bit? If you're living with a family, they should know you're an empath. If they don't, and you're trying to keep it a secret because you're in fear that they might think you're going off the deep end, then just, politely say, hey, my ears are sort of hurting today. Can you turn it down just a little bit? There's ways to do that. Walking out in nature, walking into the backyard, sitting into the backyard with maybe an iced tea, or I will even tell you, people think it's really crazy. You take your shoes off and walk outside. Those vibrations of the earth, and especially if you're around trees, I'm getting goosebumps for somebody, around trees, then those energies actually come up into your feet. Why do you think that they say we're earthly connected? We are earthly connected. That's even one type of empath. Did you even know that? Earth empath? Yes, there is an earth empath. So whatever it is for you, I would say take notes. What is it that you can do to calm yourself in a situation that you can't get out of? Maybe you're around a bunch of noisy relatives at a reunion and they're nee, fighting or whatever. You want to diffuse that, whatever it is. If you have to go sit in your car, go sit in the car, listen to some music. Say, hey, I got to go make a phone call. I got to go text. I got to go do something. Just to diffuse, the sooner you can do it, the better. All right? So that's and I'll talk about that because it's so important. Some people carry crystals around with them to keep them grounded. Sometimes that works and sometimes that doesn't work, depending on our energies are changing all the time. So if you're carrying around I know a lady who her bra was full of crystals. I was like, how do you know? Because it's like she was trying to protect herself from everything. It's not really the way things work, but you could have a crystal on you for grounding for one thing, and maybe it's something else that is a different type of grounding. So you really have to know your crystals and what they're doing and how they work. Okay, so that's one thing I am learning, which crystals bring me my vibrations up. Like, like quartz will bring my vibration up, and we've got amethyst, and you just sort of have to know what brings your vibrations up. Now, that's crystals you don't have to get into. It's just I'm learning that I need to be grounded at times. Being an extremely sensitive empath, I have to learn how to do that for myself. Each empath has their own thing on how to keep themselves grounded, how to put out the noise, how to lift themselves up, because that's key. For me, I have to get out in nature, or I have to get in an absolute quiet place. When I do my readings, my intuitive tarot readings, I have to be in a very quiet place. Even if people are home, I have to shut myself in and quiet, because I'm listening to the divine. I'm listening to energies. I'm listening to possibly others coming through from the other side, and those take an enormous amount of energy, and that I have to be in tune to and respectful, because they're trying to give me messages. I have to be in tune to that, and sometimes it's just a thought, and I have to be ready for that. I'm exhausted at the end of a day of readings, let me tell you. And that's the other thing. So we're going to talk about energy sensitivities next, because if you looked at part 2, it told you all the different kinds of empaths, right? So when we are around other people, I'm going to talk right now about there's a whole bunch of energies I want to talk about, but right now I'm going to talk about absorbing somebody else's energies or trying to bounce them off. And I'm going to talk about physical, because remember, I'm all 8. So this may relate to you, this may not, but try to think of, if you're thinking you're an empath, then what type of empath you are and how this is going to actually help you with your toolbox, because I'm trying to build your toolbox for you. So let's use physical as a thing here, because I will talk about, I can talk about auras and physical almost in the same time. So if you feel auras, or if you see auras, those are the energies surrounding us, then actually this will apply to that. Okay, so I'm going to use a friend of mine, because he was a really good example that I was absorbing his energies and I didn't know it. Now, this is only, a year and a half ago, because remember, I came out of the closet as an empath probably almost 2 years ago. And my awakenings have exploded, because I've freed myself. I've freed those chains, got rid of those chains, and everything in the past that I was suppressing, I said, no more. I'm going to be who I was created to be. And so I told my daughter, and I said, you're going to think I'm nuts, but I'm coming out and I'm going to be an empath. And since that time, everything has intensified threefold. So when I first was going by somebody, I could feel their energies. This is back in the 90s where I could just feel their energies. I could feel their auras, and I was like, what is this, right? I was like, okay, what's going on? And I think part 1, I have the story of Costco and being a security guard and catching shoplifters. Go back and listen to that and you'll understand what I'm talking about, those kind of auras. But I could feel auras and I was like, oh, I didn't like that. But I didn't absorb it. I just didn't understand it back then. Well, now this has been, that was back in the 90s, right? 1990s. I'm not going to tell you how old I am, but in the 90s. So now here it's 2020. Well, in 2018 or so, when I met this gentleman, I was like, something's not quite right physically with him. I couldn't understand. I don't know. I mean, I cannot see. I'm not one to see. Some empaths do into somebody's body, but I could feel he was sick. So I didn't want to talk about it, but I could feel it. At that point in time, I just was like back in 99, just, okay, I think he's sick. I feel he's sick. I felt this before, but okay, whatever. Well, the more I got to know this gentleman, he had told me that he had, kidney cancer and had one kidney, oh my goodness, removed. Okay, and I was like, oh, well, that's that then. I get that. And then he wanted to start going back to church. So I said, okay, well, I was going to church at that time. And I said, well, why don't you come to mine? I go to an African-American church, and he's African-American. And so I says, why don't you try our church? And I was like, okay. So just prior to that, he had told me that he had cancer, of course, lost the one kidney, but then later he shared that he had both kidneys removed. And so he works daily on dialysis. He has to do dialysis on him. Well, this day that he decided to go to church that day, he came and he sat next to me, and I was feeling really good that day, feeling like, yeah, cool, it's just a normal day, right? By the end of that service, because his leg was touching mine, now you got to remember, even though we have an energy space, if you are touching somebody, you can actually pull in the energies even tenfold, because now you're physically in contact with that person, right? So by the end of the service, we go out and have coffee. They had a little coffee connection thing, and I was just wasted. I had no energy in me. I had nothing, absolutely nothing. I was like, man, I was feeling so good when I went in and I was going to do stuff today. I had to go home and just sit all day. I was that drained. Now, that's sort of an energy vampire, but it's also my energies were not protected at that time. That wasn't an intentional energy vampire. That was just him being ill and me absorbing everything that he was. But he never said he was hurt or sick prior to that. I mean, as far as that day, that he was having complications that day. So the next day he said, how did you enjoy the rest of your day? And I said, I really didn't. I was so exhausted. I said, are you feeling okay? He goes, no, yesterday my feet were hurting so bad and I was just so sick, but I wanted to go. So I went. So there you have it. I was absorbing everything that he was actually feeling that day, and it absorbed enough into me that it just put me out. This is what I'm talking about when not only, and that's one type of energy vampire, but this is energy vampire that I wasn't familiar with and how to protect myself. How could I have protected myself? In this instance, if I had known about the person being sick that day, I could have actually enlightened myself. And this is a technique and tool that we'll probably talk in number 4. But I had basically needed to put a bubble around myself, enlighten a bubble around myself so that I didn't absorb. I could feel them, but I wouldn't absorb them. So as the empaths say, you can feel somebody's, but don't absorb them kind of thing. This is so key for empaths to learn how to do, because the next step is that day I figured out, okay, and I knew that that's exactly what happened. but I still was learning how to protect myself. The other thing is that I really would suggest for new empaths outside of that is learn what an energy vampire is and how to protect yourself, because that is the most common, I would say, is an emotional energy vampire. So if you're going to take notes, I would say that an energy vampire is somebody that is negative, somebody that is toxic, somebody that plays the victim, somebody that has always got things wrong with them. What do you call that? Hypochondriac. And that mostly a lot is in the head as well. Remember, I've studied psychology as well. So so those kind of energy vampires, you are going to have to, as if you're sensitive to energies now, in 4, I'll explain all the downfalls of being an empath, but in this part, you have to sit there and evaluate. It is your responsibility for your health, your life, your mental health, and physical health, because it will drain you physically. It will make you sick. You talk about stress making you sick? Oh, Lordy Jesus. Being an empath can get you sicker than sick quicker than stress can. So what I would like you to do, if this is something that you are questioning, is evaluate who the people that you are around in your circle at home. Then who do you associate in your circle at work? If you go to church or belong to another group, who are the people that you allow into your circle there? You're going to gradually create that circle to become smaller and smaller and smaller, only because you need that peace, you need that stability, you need that mental health aspect of it. And empaths are not one to be big social people. If you're a big social person and you're cool with that, you're probably not an empath. I have so many people come to me and say, oh, well, I'm an empath. And I belong to Facebook groups to support empaths and to help people grow their abilities. But some of them will come on and say, well, I'm a new empath. An empath is somebody that you've had all your life. This is something you've had all your life. It's just that your levels are opening up and you're growing them. And a lot of empaths at first hate it because they think it's a curse, until they learn that it's a beautiful, beautiful gift. So protecting yourself from energy vampires that are emotional energy vampires will save you so much, and you will be able to keep your energies lifted up. You'll be able to keep your vibrations lifted up. You'll actually make better choices, better decisions. You will allow good people that have good high integrity, high character, high standards, good boundaries. That's a huge, huge one, because empaths sometimes don't know their boundaries, and that's what gets them into trouble. So that's really, really important, understanding that. Okay, so what am I looking for if I put all these people down? Make yourself a pros and cons list. Okay, this person is positive. They lift me up. They support me. They don't complain a lot. That's a huge one. If they start complaining about everything, they're just pulling negative vibrations in. You don't need that. So on your pros, put the ones that are all lifting you up. And on the right side, on the cons, you put who's actually put constructive under pros, destructive under cons. So who's not lifting you up? Who's putting you down? Who's making jokes? Who's complaining all the time? Life is never fair. Life is never good. Life is too hard. Life is against me. My husband is this. My girlfriend is this. You need to be able to decipher positive attitude, negative attitude. Your positive attitude is what you need to engulf yourself in. And that negative attitude, you need to gradually or just immediately cut them off, because those are your energy vampires. And for you, if you're an empath, brand new, or if you're learning about energies, they'll suck you dry, and then you'll go home and you're exhausted and you don't have a clue why. So that is really, really important, because you need your health and your energy for your family, for yourself, for your job, for whatever. And sometimes somebody can vamp your energy so much, it might take you days to recoup. So you don't want those people in your life. You need to create a bubble around yourself. You need to learn how to create that bubble around yourself. Just imagine yourself in the night, the knight in shining armor kind of thing. Engulf yourself looking like that, because you need it to bounce off. You don't want to absorb, bounce. So how do you do that with a negative or a toxic person? And maybe they're in your life, and maybe you're married to one. Maybe you didn't realize how bad they were. Or if they're a friend, that's easy. You can actually break friendships off easier than you can a relationship, right? So what you have to do is realize that when something toxic comes up, you can diffuse it. Especially if it's a relationship, you can diffuse it. You can choose not to talk about it. You can set a new standard and boundary. I don't go there. For me, people want to come and talk to me all the time about politics. Sorry, I don't talk about politics. I'm really sorry. I don't even talk politics in my own home, because for me as an empath, the relevance of earthly issues is really not important, because once I pass, it doesn't even matter, to be honest. But there's certain boundaries that you will allow and certain things that you won't. So knowing your boundaries is really, really important. If you're like, well, I don't really have any boundaries, if you go and subscribe, you can actually see some spiritual boundaries. But if you go to getbalance2020.com, that is my umbrella company, and that you have, there's a ton of free videos on setting standards and toxic people and all that kind of stuff. And it helps you set those tools and tips to do that. So you do need to learn how to stay away from energy vampires. You'll find that your circle is going to become smaller and smaller, and the most important people in your life that support you and lift you up, and even though there's only a few, that's all you need, really. So again, if you feel like you have to have all these people in your life, I'll ask you, one, why? If you think you're an empath, you're probably not. 2, is it because you like to live off of drama? Or 3, are you being the drama to share with everybody else? So those are things that an empath might ask, because we don't. I'm a loner, because if I'm around people too much, example, if I'm around people for 24 hours in a day, it will take me 2 days to recoup, to be away from people. So it's really, as you get older, because I'm older than most of you, it even becomes more that I need my alone time. And it's more that I need to defrag, especially if I'm doing readings and such like that, or if I'm doing one-on-one, either life coaching or spiritual coaching or intuitive coaching. I definitely have to have a downtime. So those are really important. So also the negatives. Now on the noises, on the noise levels, that can also mean being around people. Sometimes, like I said, the noises will get to you and you have to figure a way just to shut it out, right? If you're at work, there's people that, oh my gosh, that's a horrible thing, is that you can't get away from it, especially if you're in an office setting. If they allow you to put headphones on, maybe that's a way to escape that. The other thing too is the touching. You're going to find that there's certain energies that you just want to embrace and touch, and others you just want to stay away. Again, creating that bubble around you is so important, because you do not even want to touch those energies. Back to the Costco story, when I caught that first guy, his energies were bad. I did not want to be even near him. I didn't know how bad he was, but I knew that I didn't want to be near his energies. And you can go back to that story in part 1. But the thing is that we don't want to absorb those. negative energies. Because then we have to, why would we want to do that? Because if we didn't want to protect ourselves, put that armor on, because then you got to work to bring that energy back up again. It's already hard enough to keep your energies positive and up, right? Especially with all this is going on with COVID and the politics and all that kind of stuff. Oh my goodness, it's really, really hard. And it's going to get harder towards the election. And if you know anything about astrology, we're in for a ride this month of September. We're in for a ride all the way through the end of the year. And a lot of people are going to get grouchy. A lot of people are going to get conflicted, and they're going to want to put their points. It's the energies of these planets this next 2-3 months is just woo. Let's put it this way. Try to stay calm. Try to know your perspective, and your perspective is you're not somebody else's. Try to diffuse, try to do things in compassion and love, because it's going to take every ounce of energy that you can. So why want to bring in an energy vampire? Don't. Get them out of your life as soon as you can. So that's where that is. So at the end note of that, because I try to keep these around 30 to 45 minutes, the other thing is, as an empath, you also can have energies of just knowing. So, and we have to put a bubble, a tool around us for just knowing. And the reason why we have to do that is because we already know what's going to happen. We already know what the information is going to be. Empaths, not all empaths have clairvoyance. I'm one that does. I didn't always. Again, remember I said that my abilities just exploded when I came out of the closet as an empath. That's because the divine had been waiting. It was me screaming to get out for so long, so everything intensified. So even my daughter was like, Mom, you're becoming clairvoyant. And I'm like, I am. I really didn't think of it that way. But being an empath, that can be really frustrating at first when you don't know how to contain, control, and allow yourself to defrag from it. And what I mean by that, so if you're one of those people that has the gift of knowing, then also too, you have to figure out, how can I keep myself sane through it all? Because it is really hard. Let me give you an example. So my heightening really started when I was working for this last company. And I already had problems with this last company because I've been a business owner. I've been in management for many, many years. And the manager I had no clue how to even manage, didn't know a lot about her department, didn't know a lot about her job, but she was just there because she was friends of the owner. Right? So we go into a meeting and they hire a new manager over her. She gets demoted, and then now there's 2 managers and me. And the other manager didn't know anything about this industry, but she did know about her position, put it that way. But when I started my clairvoyance started growing, I was like, what is this now? Why do I know this? It was like all of a sudden I started knowing things. I'm like, why did I know that? Oh, well, that was interesting. I already knew that. Oh, and like, oh, wow. How did I know that? I was like, so that's how it got started. It's like, oh, and I didn't even realize that it was happening so much that's why my daughter said, you're becoming more clairvoyant, Mom. And I'm like, really? So what happened is, while I'm working in the meetings, I already know what was going to be said. I already knew what these 2 were going to talk about. I already knew the outcome of the meeting. And before you know, meeting after meeting after meeting, it was so boring and it became annoying. Because I would go in there and I will admit, I went in there with a bad attitude because I was like, oh my gosh, they're just going to talk about this and this or this. And I would just sit there and just like, are we done yet? And they're like, well, no, well, I already know what you're going to say. And I'm like, ooh, this is not the way to be. So I had to figure out and hone myself in. And this is what I'm talking about, is you have to learn. You may have all the information or know some of the information, but you're going to have to zip it. You're going to have to zip it. Because, for example, if I'm doing intuitive coaching, if you were to be my client and share with me, and intuitive coaching is basically like a counseling session, only the counselor is the divine, not earth, put it that way. But if I'm doing a coaching session with you, I might be downloaded with all kinds of things the divine is saying, okay, this is this, this is this. But I can't say those right away because I need you to figure it out for yourself to a point. And then I interject certain things to help you think about things. That's intuitive. So if I begin to start speaking, then what happens is, which it happened, oh, you know everything. You already know everything. Or they'll say, well, how did you know that? Because if it's something that's very, very delicate in a company or anything, you could be accused of something that actually could cause you to lose your job, or some sensitivity to somebody's credentials, or something that might need to be confidential. So you've got to be really, really careful as a new empath to zip it. And here's a real funny time, is that when I first started getting my abilities of my auras, remember I went back to part 1 and I was telling you about catching shoplifters at Costco over and over and over, and that they did an article in the newspaper, the Costco newspaper, about me and everything. And one of the co-workers had come up to me who happened to be a Christian and who happened to believe in God. And I thought, I'm safe to tell him. Ha! No, you're not. Don't do it. Especially if they believe in God or have a sound faith. I do. I believe in God. I've been a Christian. I believe in God. I believe in Jesus Christ. I believe he walked the earth. But I also know there is more to life than just that. Because the divine has shown me. But the thing is, I went to that person and he's like, how are you catching all these shoplifters? And I looked around to make sure nobody was around. I said, I think God is talking to me and telling me who these are, because this is what I heard. And I was ridiculed and thought, you cannot be talking to God. Don't you be blasphemy, and don't you do this and that. So you've got to be really mindful in who you talk to and who you don't. That's why it's really important as an empath to get a support group. There's several of them on Facebook. If you don't know of one, let me know. I belong to a couple of them. I'm mindful at which ones I do, because there are some fake empaths out there saying that they are empaths, and they're just on there just to make a buck, or on YouTube just to make a buck. So be really, really careful, because as a new empath, if that's what you're questioning, you have to be really mindful. Have a mentor, have a coach, or have somebody walk beside you, or just to ask questions. I'm free. Ask questions. You can even ask questions when I'm doing live. All right. So those are really, really important, because as your intuition grows, you will know things that other people don't know. You will walk by somebody and know something, and you will think you're going nuts. You're not. But you have to learn how to put that bubble around you, protect you. Imagine yourself with a suit of armor. Imagine yourself with, I don't know, one of those big balls that you run around in. You have to find something, and there's tools out there on YouTube that you can do that with. But you have to find something to protect you, because you will, as you're growing and allowing yourself to grow, you will come across these energies, these vibrations, these toxic people, these energy vampires. You have to know. And then you have to be, you cannot be vulnerable to these people. As we are an empath, yes, we are also empathetic. But the thing is that we're not to be walked over. There will people that take advantage of your kindness. They will want to suck you dry. Literally, the energy vampires, they'll suck you dry. And so you have to be mindful who is being sincere, honest, and true versus, you know what, I'm just out for me. What can you give me? It's like in readings when I do my tarot readings, which I'm getting ready to do this afternoon. So I think I'm doing Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. So if you're one of those and watching, I'm going to be doing your readings today. So for the 7th, I think September 7th through whatever. Anyway, but you'll get people on there. And as much as I love to interact with my viewers, there's people that will want, can you give me a reading? Give me a reading. Give me a reading. And I want a reading, or will you do me a reading? And if you say yes, I'll answer a question at the end for you. I'd be very happy to do that. No, they want more. They want more. They won't even wait 20 minutes to get their question answered. They just want it now or they're off. So you're going to have those kind of people, and let them go. Let them go, because the ones that really want you in their life and to understand you and understand your abilities, they want to understand and grow with you. And also you can help them grow. My daughter, she doesn't even know she's an empath, and she says, no, I'm not. But she has certain abilities that she will see as she gets older that, oh yeah, I guess I really did think of it that way. So our abilities as an empath are not to last and stop here. So it's important in your responsibility for you, if God is giving you gifts of discernment, gift of feeling energies, gift of knowing animals or plants or somebody's sickness, or maybe you have the gift of visions and spirit, seeing spirit and those kind of things. I'm getting goosebumps. That must be for somebody watching this. So it's your responsibility to hone those skills, but hone them only, and I'm going to repeat this so strongly, only hone them in to light, love, and truth. And you need to surround yourself with those words nonstop all day, because let me tell you, there are forces out there that want what you have and want to get to your heart. And that's what we talk about. We need to go to our heart, our spirit, protect it, guide it, guard it, everything that you can as an empath, because there are forces out there that's what they want. That's what they want. And I could go into a whole thing on that. And it's so dark that it can create somebody to commit suicide. That's how dark that energy is. So it's important that if you don't have the skills or the knowledge to get them, have somebody to help you through them, answer your questions, but make sure the only way that you can do this is stay positive. As soon as you start thinking negative, that's when you're allowing those darker energies in. Stay positive. People around you, positive. If you want to speak something, positive. Words are so powerful. That is the first step of manifesting something. When you speak it, and then when you act it, you have just manifested so much power that you have no idea of. So that's why I'm doing these videos. So just to recap again, we wanted to talk about the energy sensitivities, how to protect yours. We talked about energy vampires, toxic and negative people, whatever that is, and why they are important to stay away from that. We talked about noise sensitivities and how you're heightened as an empath. And as you get older, remember, it heightens even more. So if you're 50 and above, then it heightens even more. And also the levels that you're at with your empath and your abilities, and what abilities are stronger and what abilities are weaker, because you're not going to have all 8 of them being powerful. There's going to be some that are much more powerful than the others. And then also too, your intuitiveness can become annoying, so you have to learn how to control yourself when you know things ahead of time. If you have that clairvoyance, you have to be able to not only control it, but de-stress yourself, because the reason why I left that job is because there was so much toxicity, so much negativism. There was so much energies that I was physically sick that landed me in the hospital. And it wasn't the stress of me being a human and can't handle the job. It was me pulling in energies, not understanding them, and allowing those energies to attack me, not only psychologically, but also attack me physically. That is why I want to protect you. If you have any abilities, maybe you're not an empath, but maybe you have clairvoyance, maybe you have maybe you study Reiki, as in you're all about energies. Maybe you talk to animals. Maybe you just have one thing. Talk to me. Ask me questions. Now, at the end of this video, all I ask is if you have any feedback, any comments, if you would like to hear me speak about something else on empaths or paranormal energies and things like that, anything to do with paranormal, let me know. If I don't have the answer, I have connections and I can actually ask them. So I'm glad that you came for number 3. I hope this helped. Like I said, I know that I had planned 4, but I might be doing 5, 6, or 7. I don't know. This is up to the divine. I'm just being asked to share this. This is me. This is what the divine wants me to share to help somebody else, because it doesn't end with me. I do this to help you guys out. So, and to learn. We need to learn about these weird things that do happen to us. Actually, I think they're blessings. I did think they were a curse at first, but now it is an amazing blessing. And I would love for you to get to that point, not to be fearful of what the divine created you to be, but to be embracing of it, because you're special, unique, because not everybody can have it, but they don't know how to tap into it. So the divine has given it to you if you have these abilities, because he knows you can control it, you can learn about it, and you will not allow it to stop with you, but you will help somebody else through that. So for the number 4, please go ahead and subscribe, or just subscribe and you can catch me online or on Facebook Live. Again, if I do any spiritual growth videos, they usually are live. And also, too, if you have a reading, those are live, which, again, I'll be doing Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius today. So those are coming up next once I get that all set up. Hi, Felix. You're very welcome. I hope this helped for you if you were looking into this at all. Thank you. So please go ahead and subscribe, like, share, tell your friends, and look up Divine Warrior Intuitive, and we will see you at number 4. And that will probably be either tomorrow, which is going to be Wednesday, or Thursday, so the September 2nd or 3rd. So I'll be doing those because I do readings Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and sometimes Saturday. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, if you're on between usually 2 and 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, I'm on doing lives and you can ask questions anytime you want. But subscribe and hit that bell and that'll let you know when I'm on, and you guys can come in and say hi, let me know where you're from and all that kind of stuff, and spread the word since I'm a new channel. I would love that. Again, thank you, Felix. I appreciate it. See you on number 4 in the next couple of days. All right. And we're going to talk on number 4 about how to protect, but also, too, the difficulties of being an empath or somebody that lives with abilities. And we're going to discuss those challenges so that if it's not you and you know somebody who is living with abilities or an empath, how you can help support them because they're pretty much alone. All right. We'll talk to you next time. Take care.